Estoy sola. Voy a quitarme la mascarilla. Since nobody else is in the room, I'm going to go ahead and take off my mask. Hola lectores, yo soy Miss Andi con Morley Libraries. Bienvenidos. ¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo están? ¿Bien? ¿Más o menos? ¿O mal? Yo estoy bien. Bien. Today we're going to learn how to express some feelings. We are going to read this lovely book by Yuyi Morales. We'll sing a song, and I have a fun little flannel board so that we can practice our vocab for today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. What I'd like you to do is watch the screen carefully and see if you can figure out by the video what each word means. Okay? We'll go ahead and give you the answer after you watch it for a minute or two. Muy bien, amigos. Very good. So today you learned tengo miedo. Tengo frío. Tengo calor. Tengo calor. Tengo hambre. Tengo sed. Tengo sed. Tengo sueño. Are you ready to read our story? Great. Today we're reading Dreamers by Yuyi Morales. Soñadores. This is a fun story. I find myself very emotional every time I read it, about Yuyi and her daughter finding their place in the United States when they come as immigrants. Now, Yuyi Morales grew up in Veracruz, Mexico, and her mother used to make all of their clothes, and she taught Yuyi to be very creative. When Yuyi moved to the United States, she felt very lonely. She didn't speak English, not very much. She didn't know what to do. And one day, her mother-in-law took her to her local library. That's where she found welcome, friends. So she fell in love with the library. She started taking some classes on children's books, and the rest is history. She now writes children's stories and does all this beautiful art. She also has done art for other authors and their books. fun fact about Mexico, where Yuyi is from. Did you know that corn, cotton, squash, beans, and chocolate all originated in Mexico? Okay, let's read. Dreamers by Yuyi Morales. Look at that little girl, she's asleep. She made some beautiful drawings. I dreamed of you. Then you appeared. Together we became amor, love, amor. Resplendent life, you and I. Do you see something hidden in the picture? I think I see something hidden. One day we bundled gifts in our backpacks. I think they're gifts for all their friends and family. And crossed a bridge outstretched like the universe. Adios, corazón. They're saying goodbye to their family and crossing a bridge to the United States. And when we made it to the other side, thirsty, in awe, unable to go back, we became immigrants. Look at all the bats. La luna está muy grande. Migrantes, you and I. The sky and the land welcomed us in words unlike those of our ancestors. Speak English. Give thanks. What? Soy something. Bookstore. Hello, ma'am. Becomes scribbles. Ay! She didn't understand. There were so many things we didn't know, unable to understand and afraid to speak. See how she's trying to read the map? Ay! We made lots of mistakes. See how she's playing in the fountain? I think they let them in Mexico, but here they don't. You and I became caminantes. Do you see how they're walking for the protests and marches? Power to the people. Si se puede. Hear our voices. Justice is to not be alone. Thousands and thousands of steps we took around this land until we found a place we had never seen before. Do you guys know where they are? The library, right. Did you know library is, we say library, we say biblioteca. So they're at the biblioteca. Suspicious, improbable, unbelievable, surprising. Looks like her little girl's really excited to see that dog book. Unimaginable. Look at all of these adventures that are going on. Where we didn't need to speak, we only needed to trust. And we did. The librarian is giving her a library card so she can get their books. Books became our language. Books became our home. Books became our lives. We learned to read, to speak, to write, and to make our voices heard. Someday, we will become something we haven't even yet imagined. But right now, we are stories. We are two languages. We are lucha. We are resilience. We are hope. We are dreamers. Soñadores of the world. We are love. Amor, love. The end. Now the back has a little short story about Yuyi's adventure here in the United States, how she got here, a little bit about their family. But we're not going to read that right this moment. Okay, mis lectores, we are going to go ahead and do a little story about Nicomedes, my friend. Now Nicomedes was a funny, silly guy, and he was constantly getting into trouble. He would make mistakes and do things kind of strange. He lived with his gatito. One day in his apartment, he saw outside that the leaves had started to change colors and they were falling. He heard the wind howling through his window. Ooh, and he started to shiver. Nicomedes turned to his gatito and he said, "Tengo frío, tengo mucho frío, tengo frío." So he decided, do you think he got a blanket? He didn't get a blanket. Do you think he turned up the heat? He didn't turn up the heat. Nicomedes got some yarn and he put it right on top of Nico's bald head. Nicomedes was pelón, calvo, and didn't have one little strand of hair on his head. The yarn he thought would keep him warm. Well, his upstairs neighbor was a lovely little abuelita, and she heard about the yarn on Nico's head and came over, got on top of his head, and started to knit. Nicomedes did not like that. With the yarn and with the abuelita on his head, he started to feel a little bit, he was sweating, he was feeling warm. So Nicomedes turned to the abuelita and he said, "Tengo calor. Vete. Tengo calor. Por favor." So the abuelita took the yarn and she left. Well, later on that evening, Nicomedes started to feel a rumbling in his tummy. Rumble, rumble. And he realized that he wanted to eat something. So he turned to his gatito and he said, "Tengo hambre, tengo hambre." His gatito went to the kitchen and got some spaghetti. His gatito brought Nico the spaghetti, and Nico, being the silly, goofy guy he was, put the spaghetti on his head and started eating it that way. Just slurping those strands right off of his own head. That's not the best way to eat spaghetti, right? No. Well, Nico's next door neighbor, well, he really loves spaghetti and he was quite hungry. So he came on over, he knocked on the door, and he came into the apartment and he jumped right on top of Nico's head and started eating that spaghetti. Nico didn't like that. Nico said, "Vete por favor, go, leave." And his neighbor took the spaghetti, took the spaghettis, and went home. Well, the next day, Nico was sitting in his living room and looking out the window when all of a sudden he heard a loud rumbling in the distance. And he saw an airplane, an avión, zooming right towards his window. Well, Nico turned to his gatito and he said, "Tengo miedo! Tengo mucho miedo! Miedo!" And Nicomedes, I don't know where he got this, but he grabbed an armadillo and he put him on his head, just like a helmet. Well, you guys know. That airplane didn't fly into his window. It flew past. Vroom! And Nicomedes told the armadillo he could be along on his way. And the armadillo left. Oh, Nicomedes. There we go. Well, Nicomedes started feeling tired. He wanted to go to sleep, but Nicomedes had a problem. He could not sleep with his bald head. his head felt exposed. It felt maybe a little chilly. So he said to his gatito, "Gatito, tengo algo para ti." He turned to his gatito and he said, "Tengo sueño. Tengo sueño." And he reached into his pocket and pulled out some fish bones. Nicomedes, how are the fish bones going to help you sleep? Well, how do you guys think? Nicomedes, gatito, tenía hambre. He said to Nicomedes, "Yo tengo hambre." And he jumped up on top of Nico's head, started eating the fish, and purring. Rum, 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 rum. Nicomedes felt warm and safe and fell asleep. The end. Nicomedes goes through a lot of fun adventures. Amigos, I have something to tell you. Yo tengo sed. Yo tengo sed. From all this talking. So I am going to go ahead and take a drink. Are we ready for some music? La música. So my friends, if you have a maraca or a shaky egg or a bottle with rice, go ahead and get it. If you don't, remember, you can always clap along with us. You can always make sounds any way you want. You could sing if you know the song. We're gonna do Chocolate. That's one of my favorite songs for Spanish story time. Are you ready? Let's make sure I get this right. Ready? Go. Uno, dos, tres, cho. Uno, dos, tres, go. Uno, dos, tres, la. Uno, dos, tres, ate. Uno, dos, tres, cho. Uno, dos, tres, go. Uno, dos, tres, la. Uno, dos, tres, te. Chocolate, chocolate, bate, bate. El chocolate, 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 bate, bate. El chocolate. Okay, amigos. So that's all we have for today. We're going to go ahead and do a little review of the vocab, and we'll see you next time. Remember, friends, language is something that grows with you. Just keep practicing. One of my favorite things to do is to pick a few songs that you like in Spanish and figure out what they mean. You can Google the lyrics, or sometimes they come with them, and just sing with them, even if you don't understand everything. All right, mis amigos, I'm going to go ahead and put on my mascarilla. And nos vemos para la próxima. Adiós.